Hello and welcome to another day of computer science. I'm David Martelli, and today we're going to be going over how to add our own graphics to our games that we've been making in ReadyMaker. So the type of graphics that we tend to use for ReadyMaker, or anything in reality, there are basically two types. There's normal images like what you would see on a picture from a camera, right? And that's a bitmap image. Basically, it's a bunch of little dots. Each little dot is a color, and then you put enough little dots of different colors together in a small enough area, and it will look like a picture. The other type of graphics is called vector graphics. What a vector is for this particular idea is basically a line or a basic shape. So a vector is saying that we have a point here and then another point here, and it's going from here to here. Or a circle or a triangle, which is just a bunch of points that can be referenced mathematically. So what we're going to work today is figuring out how to make vector graphics in a free program called gravit.io. It's completely web-based, so you don't have to install anything on your computer if you don't want to, and especially if you have a Gmail account, a Google account, you can just log in, sign in for free, super quick, super easy. So let's get started looking at where we are so far on our game, and then we'll go to Gravit to be able to create our own custom graphics and enemies, and yeah, let's go. All right, so let us first go to open up a new browser, in whatever browser window you have, and then we're going to type in gravit.io. I'll hit enter on that, and I'll pop up with this beautiful site right here. Now in here, you do have the option to download the software onto your computer. However, it's not required. If you don't want to download something on your computer, or you don't have permission to, or you have a Chromebook which doesn't allow it, you can simply hit the Start Now button, and that will get you started to be able to make your own graphics using this. So I'll hit Start Now. This lovely thing will load up, and it'll ask you if you have an account. You have a couple different options. You can enter in your email to be able to write whatever you want there. However, I have a Gmail account, so I'm going to hook into that. If you have a Gmail account for your school as well, then that'll work just as great. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the chat. I'm going to go fast enough so that today's lesson will last 25 to 30 minutes. However, if I'm going too fast, let me know in the comments. That'll help me out so that I can either respond to your question in the comments or just start slowing down so this all makes a little bit more sense. All right, so here I am. I'm going to hit Google, and then I'm going to choose my email that I wish, and then it'll pop up and say my account was successfully created. From here, I have an option. I can try the super fancy advanced version, the pro version, free for 15 days, or I can just get started for free. In this case, I'm going to get started for free because it will give us all of the things that we need completely free. The pro version has a bunch of other cool stuff, but nothing that we really need. All right, get started for free. Boop. And now we have the ability to create our own design. So I'm going to go back into my game for a second. Boop. Here's our game. At the moment, we have these little images here, which are my little Goombas, and they're super cool, and they're super cute, and if I run my game, they wander back and forth, they bounce a little bit. I got my guy right here, kind of happy, he's Bob. Look at all of these graphics that I have around here, right? I got Bob, I've got my little Goombas, that guy's got a mind of his own, I've got the Black Star, I've got all of these little crystals. So we have so many what are called assets, graphical assets inside this game. Let's try making something kind of cool. So let's figure out what today's task will be. So I think today's task will be make a custom enemy. The KPI for this is going to be super minimalistic because I want to make sure that we can go over the design software pretty well. So we're going to say enemy looks kinda scary. And then we'll say that enemy has eyes to be able to look, I guess. Enemy has a body. So he's got a body and an eyes. I think that's pretty good. So let's start with this. I think because I'm in space, I kind of want a space monster, right? Because if we're going with our scheme here, we're going with our story, Bob is trying to create all of these energy crystals that are being protected by these space guys. These guys don't really look like space guys. They kind of look like weird mushrooms, I think. So let's go. In all of the stories when I was growing up, all of the enemies were like little green guys. So I think I'm going to make a little green guy. So he goes kind of with my theme and my story of the game. And we want him to be about this big. And we can make him a little bit bigger. So let's go into here. I need to figure out a width and a height. You can always just plug in these numbers, just put any number you want and see what happens. I'm going to say 300 pixels by 300 pixels. This px means pixels. You have the ability to, in this software, create a lot of different measurement styles. So you can do pixels, millimeters, centimeters, inches, and these two are kind of weird. Don't worry about those. So what a pixel is, let's go to Google and ask. Google, pixel. Get an image. It's got to give me a bunch of phones. Okay. What is a pixel computer? Ah, here we go. So, check this out. A pixel is a little dot on a grid. So if we look at our monitors, if you look really, really close, is just a whole lot of tiny little dots. And each one of those dots, in this case, is a little bit different of a color, right? Each one of these individual dots that are whatever color is called a pixel. And if we look at this right here, this is saying that this image, when it's not scaled up, is 200 by 146 pixels. So we can see that this guy right here is 200 by 146 pixels. And that's how big that is on my screen. Every screen has a slightly different what we call resolution. A resolution means how many pixels wide by how many pixels high you can fit in your computer. So the standard for most computers, 1080 is 1080 by 1920. So 1080 from top to bottom, 1920 from left to right. Or you can fit 1080 little dots of color in a single row, or in a single column going down, and you can fit 1920 pixels, little dots of color, from the left to the right. Cool? All right. So if we know that that is about 200 by 146, I'm going to go back in here. Yeah, I don't mind them being a little bit bigger, so I'm going to say 300 by 300. Create. And now I have my 300 wide by 300 long empty canvas. So let's start working on how to use these tools to be able to actually build something. So let's look around for a minute. We have a thing called layers. We have an advertisement telling me to do stuff. Meh. Page, our width. Here we can see we can set our width. So let's say this wasn't wide enough. I can change that and see how it got bigger. So if you find that your number that you chose was too small, let's say that we went 50 by 50, and that wasn't you know, that's really small. That'd be a really small enemy, right? We can just go in here to the width and the height and change that to be whatever we like. All right, so let's first start drawing on here. I think if I look at what I need to make, looks kind of scary. It's kind of hard to define right now. His enemy has eyes. Well, he could have eyes, but he has to have something to have the eyes on, I suppose. So enemy has body. Let's start with this one. So let's make a body. I think I'm going to choose. So up here are our drawing tools. So this guy is my little selector. Allows me to click on things and move them around. This guy right here allows me to draw a shape. So those shapes are lines, rectangles, ellipses, which are circles that can be stretched in any direction. Polygons, which are like hexagons and things with more than 4 sides. Triangles, things with 3 sides. And cool little stars. I think I'm going to go with an ellipse. Click here. Ding. There it goes. Cool. So I've made my first circle on here. So I can click on it because my little arrow here is selected. I can move it around however I like. I'm going to keep him right about there in the middle. And let's give him another color. So if I look over here to the right, I have an entire list of things that can help me change how this looks, right? And I can tell because I have this little ellipse selected. See, it gives me all those. If my ellipse was not selected, it says page up here and it gives me some different options. So I'll click my ellipse and I can see all the settings for my ellipse. So I can see his position, so where left and right he is. I can see his size is 255 pixels by 198 pixels high. And let's change his color. Fills. What color fills my shape? Click. Oh, he's a little green dude, right? So let's see. Maybe a little darker. That looks pretty chill. Nice. Cool. All right, so I've made this. Now, he's got a body. Let's give him some legs, I think. So let's add another shape. Boop. An ellipse. And I'm going to draw it like that. And that looks a little weird. Kind of actually looks like a guy's body and face. So let's make this guy maybe a little darker. All right. If you've been paying attention to the left side of the screen over here, we have this little area called layers, and it has started filling with all of the shapes that we have on here. So if I look, they're both named ellipse. And that's really hard to figure out once we, like, imagine I have like 6 eyes on this guy's with pupils and stuff. It'd be really hard to tell what's what if they're all named the same. So let's go ahead and rename these. So click on that guy, selects this one. And if I double click, I can then type in body. This one is the legs. If I double click on here, say legs. Cool. So now I know if I select this, I'm looking at the properties for the body. And if I select this, I'm looking at the properties for the legs. What's cool about layers is it's literally like an onion or a parfait or an ogre, right? One layer sits on top of another layer, sits on top of another layer. So if you notice, the legs are on top of the body right now because they're higher up on this list. If I drag this guy down, now you can see the body is on top of the legs. So depending on how they're ordered inside this layers list will show what is on top of the other thing. Cool? Makes sense so far? Again, if you have any questions whatsoever, if I'm going too fast, please let me know in the comments. If you just want to say hi, I would happily say hi to anyone on here as well. All right, so let's move the legs under the body. Cool. All right, so we have a body. Check mark. Let's make the eyes. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see, we need some circles. Cool. And then make a little circle there. Nice. Now, I could just make another circle right here, but the chances of me getting it the exact same size, in this case 55 by 41, is pretty difficult. So what I'm going to do is click on this, and then I can right click. So if you look on your mouse, most likely you have a left side and a right side. I'm hitting the right side, and then I should be able to hit the copy button. I was wrong. Usually there's a copy button on here. Okay, that didn't work. Let's see. Where else might there be a copy button on here? Here we go. So if I click on this guy, then I go to the Edit menu, top left-hand side, then hit Copy. Or I can hit Control-C on my keyboard. That copies also. Due to permissions, we cannot access your system's clipboard. Please use the following shortcut instead of copy. I got an error. On this hand, it was very nice to me, and it told me what my error should do. So I should hit the Command button and the C button. Sorry, Control button. So Control-C, and then to paste, Control-V. And see how it made another one? I have two over there. Click on this guy, drag him over here. Now check this out. If you can see on the screen, it gives me all of these guides to say that all of these things are aligned, and they are exactly, in this case, 68 pixels apart from each other. So I can make things not only be perfectly lined up, but I can also judge how much distance is in between each. Cool. So we have this guy here. We have this guy. Let's name these so that we know what they are. This guy is left eye. And this guy here is right eye. All right. I want to make a pupil. However, I want to get in a little bit closer to here. I need to zoom in so that I can, really get what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to hit this button up over here. Boop, 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 boop. Now he is staring very deeply into my eyes from very close. Nice. All right. Let's add some more circles. Let's go. Doot. All right, that's definitely not where I want it. So let's click and move them around a little bit. Ooh, I can put them exactly in the center. It's kind of creepy. And then most pupils are not the same color as their eyeball. So let's click on that. Go over here, change it to be black. It's already far more terrifying. Nice. So now I can Control-C, Control-V. Bring it right here. And see, this tells me that everything is exactly lined up. 90 pixels on the top, 90 pixels on the bottom away from each other, 11 from each side of the eyeball, and 5.5 from the top and bottom. So these two look exactly the same. So again, let's name these so I know what they are. This is left pupil. This guy, right pupil. Now, let's say that I think that this eyeball should be a little bit more in the center maybe, right? Right now I'd have to select all of the objects within it in order to be able to move them. Because the pupil is really a part of the eye, right? I want it to kind of follow around the eye. I want to attach it to the eyeball in some way. So what we do is we take the right pupil, we're going to click on it with our left mouse button and drag it so that it's right over the right eye. And then see how now it disappeared and we got this little kind of triangle pointing out at us now. So I click on that, the right pupil is under the right eye. This is what's called making something a child of something else. So right now, the right pupil is a child of the right eye. So if I click on the right eye, I can move them both around and everything will change, not just the eyeball of the iris. So they are linked together. All right, cool. He is staring at me. As terrifying. Okay, so he kind of already looks a little scary. Check mark to has eyes. But let's make him a little bit more interesting. So let's make him look a little scary. So first off, if we think about the animal kingdom, the things that make us feel scared are usually the big mouths that want to eat us, right? So let's go ahead into here and let's make a rectangle. Cool. And usually mouths are red, right? So let's select here, go over. And I'm just dragging this little dot around until I find something that kind of feels like a nice color to me. You know what? I'm going to change his green just a little bit, I think. All right, let's look around, see. That's pretty good. Cool. Doesn't really look like a mouth. Let's call it what it is, though. Mouth. So I have a couple of options over here that are a little bit fancier. So most people's mouths are not square, right? They're a little kind of rounded on the edges. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to round these edges. Over here, we can see under the appearance, there's the corner. Drag that up, it gets completely rounded. And then I can do I can do anything from straight square to truly rounded. Truly rounded looks pretty cool. I think he also has to have some lips. So we've filled our color for this rectangle pretty well, but I need to give it kind of like a border or a line around it, right? So if we click right here where it says borders, click that guy, and it automatically adds a black border. Maybe make him a little thicker lips. Nice. All right, so now it looks like he's screaming at me. Let's make him look a little bit more alien-like. Oh, so let's clean up our layers a little bit just to make sure everything's still good. So I need to move my left pupil and make it a child of left eye. So those are right there. I can move my mouth, make it a child of body. Cool. And to be honest, if we wanted to, we can move the eyes to be under body as well. So now if I click on this, inside the body object, I have a right eye object, which has right pupil. So this is what's called nesting. Imagine this guy is the top nest, the top box. And then inside it, I nest in there another box. And then underneath that, I nest inside there my little image. Cool? All right. So now that we have that, we can, let's see. What else could you use? Maybe some spots. Let's try some spots. All right. We'll go into our circle button here. Ellipse. And I'm going to draw a little circle. Oops, it added it to here. That's weird. It must be because I had this layer selected when I did it. So let's do something to make sure that never happens again. Let's first clicky on this and hit the trash button to delete the item from there. So that little guy's gone. I'm going to close up my little layers here, and I'm going to hit this lock button. This lock button will make sure that I can no longer mess with anything that I already like. It is pretty common practice and is pretty helpful that once you have something looking the way that you want it to look, you hit the little lock button here, and that lock button will make it so that Oh, sorry. It looks like we got lost there for a second. All right. Yep, we're back online. All right, cool. Sorry about that. So now what we're going to do is add another circle. I'm going to do this really quick. Just do a little kind of there. Let's make it a green color, a little bit lighter green. Kind of look like little gray spots maybe. Cool, I like that. Click on this, Control C, Control V. I'll just kind of pop them around every now and then. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit. Control V. Control Z, Control V. Another one. Maybe here. And then maybe another one right there. Cool. And they all kind of look the same. So let's select one or two of them. And then how I do that is by clicking on one, holding down the Shift button, and then selecting another. So you can see I've got these two selected over here. I'm just going to change that to be maybe a little darker, like that. Cool. All right. It looks pretty scary, I think. Maybe we'll add some teeth. That's really the only thing we got left to do. So again, let's go over and clean up our layers. It doesn't really make sense to make all of these guys all like the child or all nested underneath one thing that is another one of these. Sorry, that didn't make any sense. Right now, it doesn't make sense for me to put all of these kind of spots underneath the body. That would just make it really kind of hard to tell what they are. So what I'm going to do is create a new layer that is just an empty nest for us to put all of our objects in, an empty folder layer. So I'm going to click right here, new layer. You can see it kind of looks like a little folder. I'm going to name this layer spots. And then I'm going to click that, hold down Shift, click all of them, and that will link all of them. And then drag them in. And now they are all underneath spots. Awesome. So I'll lock that because I'm kind of happy with that. Now I am going to add some teeth. So let's see. Last little shape, and then we'll get this into our game. Ooh. Nice. Cool, like that. You can see as I'm moving it, it's going up or down a pixel. Cool. So copy, paste, add another one. Wait for everything to be lined up. Good. Copy, paste. The same thing right here. Awesome. Now I'm going to create one of these, copy it, put it right here. Then I'm going to go up here to this little button right here that says flip vertically. So if I do that, boop, there we go. Copy this one. Put that there. That looks pretty menacing. I like that. All right, and we can do the exact same thing that we did before. Create a new layer. Teeth. Put those under there. And we have a nice, happy, or maybe not so happy enemy. Awesome. So I'm going to save this first, and I do that by hitting this little save button. Looks like a diskette. And then I can, and this will save it online, not on your computer, so that you can go back and edit it later on this website. So I'm going to call them enemy1, save. Cool. All right. So now let's put it so that we can put it into our game. So I'll go into File menu, which is in the top left. Export, because we're exporting it out of this program into another one. And a ping image is kind of the one that we usually use for these. They're pretty small file size. So I'll export, and it'll go and download directly. So this guy is called enemy1 and a little parenthesis 2. So let's go back into our ReadyMaker game, which is still running. In order to add a new custom asset, I'm going to hit the plus button and upload asset. From here, I'm going to give him a name, enemy 1. Search my device, and then there he is. You'll notice they'll probably be in the PC downloads, or if you're on a Mac, it'll be in downloads also. So if you can't find it, just look around on your computer. Chances are there's a little thing that says downloads on there, where all of the stuff that you download, take from the internet, and put onto your computer will be placed. So, got that. Hit open. There's a nice little picture of him. Finish and save. And there he is, enemy 1. You can see I tried to do this a few times. So I'm going to click on him, drag him in, and there he is. However, as you can see, we can see his background. He's got like a white little square background there, and that's not ideal. It doesn't look like he's in the game so much as he's a sticker that was placed on top of the game. So we need to get rid of that background. So let's delete that. I'm even going to go in here and delete it from my uploaded assets just so I don't get confused later. So I can hit on here, select that, and then I can delete him right there. Cool. So let's go back in here. So we have to make this background, our page, become transparent, see-through, not visible. So how we do that is we click on this, and let's see. Here's the color for the background, so I could change the color if I wanted to. But right here is the opacity. Opacity means how well you can see it, how non-transparent something is, opaque it is. So I'm going to go here and say 0. And now you're going to get what in graphic design is the default thing saying that there is no background and it's completely transparent. It's kind of like gritty square things. So I'll save it again. File, export, PNG. Enemy 1, parenthesis 3 now, because this is the 3rd time I've downloaded this enemy. Go back to ReadyMaker. Upload asset. Asset name will be enemy 1. Search my device. Enemy 3. There he is. Finish and save. It will upload him to the game. Click him, put him in, and there he goes. No background, no nothing. So let's place him down here. Make him a little bit smaller so he's the same size as kind of everyone else. And we'll do all of the code that we did before to our little Goombas here to make them move around. So if you have not seen any of the previous videos, I'll leave a link in the description in this video to the previous ones, and I'll also link it so that you can see it in a card for the playback of this right about now. It'll be above my head somewhere over here. But basically, I'm going to go kind of fast through this, so if this doesn't make sense to you, please watch the previous video. This is, again, the 4th video in this particular series. So I'm going to go here, select him. I'm going to make him of class enemy. So he's now an enemy. I'm going to give him the behavior of a bullet. He already has them. I don't know why he already has it. No, let's pretend that he didn't have it. So I'll click on here, hit behavior, add behavior, going to movement, bullet, click and hold and drag. All right, we're going to go into his physics. We're going to turn on his physics. If it wasn't already on, make sure that he's got gravity. Awesome. And then let's hit play and see what happens. Woo! Oh, I see. Woo. They're all moving really fast. That's weird. Let's see. Over here, this guy's behavior. Oh, 6 meters a second. That's really fast. We want it to be like 0.3. There we go. Let's look at this guy. appearance. Oh, sorry. Behavior. Again, we want this to be 0.3. 0.3. And then this guy, last one. Behavior. Sometimes this platform glitches out a little bit and it defaults some of these values back to their defaults. That can happen either because it didn't save correctly the last time, or because you hit the undo button a few too many times and it undid a property that you didn't see. So that's possibly why. So we hit this go, right? Now they're all kind of working the same, and we'll see that guy will hopefully, oop, code's not, that guy's going. I love errors. Something weird's happening. Maybe I forgot to do something in my last video. Let's go check. Let's see the script, because that's what's happening. All right, it's on their movement, right? So make Goombas move back and forth. That's this. Oh, something got moved. That's weird. All right, cool. That's easy enough to fix. When system runtime repeat every 5 seconds, choose an object, our enemy class, bullet movement, mirror velocity. Also, I noticed that these guys kind of all flipped around. So I'm going to go into physics. And I'm going to lock rotation. I'm going to do that on all of these guys. Physics, lock rotation, physics, lock rotation, and on this guy. That way they don't fall over sideways and get kind of stuck. This is a process called debugging. The computer program will almost never work correctly the first time. Just don't expect it to. All right, there it goes. Let's see what happens. 5 seconds or so. Hey, look at that. Now we have our enemies, except for that guy. Ooh. Ah, we didn't put a hit script on for that, for this guy. So we can hit him and he doesn't reset our game. That's not good. And this guy's floating off the side. So let's diagnose these issues, right? So this guy doesn't know that he's an enemy and should eat me, which is sad because he looks truly menacing, like he wants to eat me. And that guy, his velocity does not flip. So let's go fix those really quickly. Ready? So all these bugs will come up. Get used to these bugs coming up. You didn't do anything wrong. Well, I guess you did, but like, it's fine. That's expected. It's standard. Debugging is 80% of the work. If something doesn't work the way that you expect it to work, beautiful. That's perfect. Go in and problem solve. Figure out why it doesn't work. The computers are kind of funny. They will only do exactly what you tell them to do. Nothing more, nothing less. So when we talk to humans, we're really good at kind of saying, hey, yo, go over there. But for a computer, we have to say, hey, go exactly 50 inches in that direction. And by that direction, I mean 50 inches left and 2 inches up, right? You have to be super specific, which is a little frustrating at first. But once you get a hang of it, it becomes much simpler. So let's figure this out. We had 2 problems, right? This guy didn't know he was an enemy. So let's see. He is of class enemy. Let's look at our hit detection script. So enemy hit detection. Boop. And oh, we never switched that in our last game. Bob Senting is touching, not a Goomb. We want him to be touching something from the enemy class. Then Bob's appearance will be hidden and the system will reset the scene. So that's one issue. Let's test that. Test often. So, boop, that resets me. Boop, that resets me. Boop, that resets me. Boop. And see how I tested every single case, right? I wanted to make sure that it was in fact working and not just me getting lucky by hitting one person, okay? Now, this guy, if I remember correctly, just keeps walking while the rest of these guys, he likes to moonwalk. So let's go back. Let's check out this guy and see. I have a feeling that he's not a part. Oh, no, he's a part of the enemy class. Let's see. Let's go back to our movement script. Make Goom move back and forth. Oh. Goom back and forth. We have 2 of them. Oh. Wonder how that happened. Maybe I made it twice. Let's delete that. Make Goom move back and forth. Make Goom back and forth. How many of these do we have? We have 2 of these too. I wonder why. Huh. Sometimes the programming environment that you're playing with kind of messes up with stuff too. So just because you didn't do it doesn't mean that it might not be an error somewhere. So let's remove this guy. Right? Make sure that we have the right one. So system, move back and forth, hit mirror velocity. Sweet. So that's good. Let's see if there are any more of these that we have kind of weird doubles on. Player left, right, hit, Bob returns home. We have 2 hit detections. We have 4 enemy hit detections. Which one's the right one? This one's the right one. He senses he's touching the enemy. He goes away and he starts the scene. That means the rest of them I can probably delete. Boop. Delete. Boop. Delete. Boop. Delete. All right. Now we have 1 of each script. Cool. Also looks less crowded, which is nice. All right, hit done. Playtest. See first if they move back and forth. They do. That guy hits. That guy hits. Wah! Boop. That guy hits. And that guy hits. All right. And we can collect all of the gems. I think. Assuming I can beat my own game. Yep, we can collect all the gems. And we can win the game. Awesome. So our game officially works with our own creepy little bad guy. Cool. So all right. So that is an intro to making your own custom graphics to putting in your game, right? And this is super cool. I just did it for one little enemy, and if I was me, I would probably change it so that all of the enemies looked like that. Or maybe now that I have multiple enemies, I can have different ones do different things. Maybe one enemy just stuns you so you can't move for 3 seconds. Or another one makes it so that you just lose all of your gems and you have to go find more, right? You can also make your own backgrounds the exact same way. So there is one thing that our guy doesn't do that the rest of our gooms do, and that is he doesn't kind of animate. He doesn't bounce up and down. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys to choose. We have 2 different things that we can make. We can make, in the graphics world for this game, we can make it so that our background can scroll and move, and that requires using Gravit.io to be able to make what's called a tiled or scrollable background. Or we can make our enemy move, which requires a different program to be able to make an animated image. It is up to you. Leave your comments in the comment box to say which one you would like to see next. And then on Friday, we will go in and make that happen for you. The schedule for these classes is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm going to do a little bit different this week because I want to start adding some building and maker skills in as well. So Mondays and Fridays are going to be the programming and making the game section of this. And then Wednesday is going to be a build challenge where I'm going to come up and show you some basic techniques on how to build some stuff. And then you have to scavenge around your house because at least at the time of this recording, the majority of the stores are closed. So like I tried to go out and get cardboard and social distancing told me not to. So you get to scavenge around. Please ask your parents to make sure it's okay if you use the material first. But if you want to get kind of caught up on that beforehand for Wednesday, try and find some tape or some glue, especially hot glue. And if you can find some cardboard or foam board or anything like that you can make stuff out of. And then I'll give you a build challenge. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. I think it's going to be fun. So stick around. Find me on Wednesday. I'll post the updates on the Facebook page. I'll post it on Instagram. And I'll post it on the YouTube channel as well when we're going to go live. It'll probably be in between 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock p.m. on Wednesday. Anyways, if you have any questions, again, thank you so much for joining. Put those comments in, those questions in the comments. If you have someone else that would enjoy this and get something from this, please share it with them. These lessons are for everyone, especially now that the schools are closed for at least the next couple of weeks. Having some of this stuff to kind of not only learn some stuff, but have some fun, super important. And if you enjoyed this and it helped you, please leave a like. And let me know what you liked or didn't like about it. And then I'll keep making these lessons catered for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next class.